In a future where robotics has reached incredible heights, humans have developed a lifelike robot known as the surrogate. These machines connect directly to the human brain, using a device equipped with over 100 sensors. When someone sits in a chair-like setup, these sensors attach to different parts of their brain, allowing them to control the surrogate with their thoughts. It's like having a second body that mirrors your mental commands. The original creator, Lionel Cantor, designed surrogates to help disabled individuals live normal, unrestricted lives. However, what started as a medical breakthrough quickly evolved into something far bigger. Just 3 years after their invention, surrogates were repurposed for military use, enhancing combat capabilities. As manufacturing ramped up, costs dropped, making the technology accessible to the general public. This marked a turning point in human life. People began relying on surrogates for daily tasks, staying indoors while their robotic doubles went outside. Accidents, crime, and disease became less of a threat. You could appear any way you liked. No surgery, no gym, just design your surrogate and let it represent you in the world. It became the new normal to interact socially and professionally through machines while you remained safe and hidden at home. 7 years after their launch, VSI, the largest surrogate manufacturer, reported that a large percentage of the world's population had integrated surrogates into their daily lives. Human interaction became rare as most people communicated only through their surrogates. Isolation became common, but society viewed it as progress. Since surrogates reduced physical contact, violent crimes, contagious illnesses, and even social discrimination dropped significantly. Despite the benefits, not everyone supported this shift. A small but determined group, led by a man known as the Prophet, opposed the technology. They believed humans weren't meant to live through machines and created surrogate-free zones across the United States. 14 years after the invention, a young man tells his father over the phone that he's heading to the opera, but he's actually going to a nightclub. At the club, he leaps from a balcony and lands effortlessly, revealing he's a surrogate. He dances with a woman and later takes her outside. As they become intimate, a man on a motorcycle arrives and uses a strange device to kill both of them. When authorities arrive, they discover that the male surrogate's memory chip has been completely destroyed, making it impossible to trace the real human controlling it. A girl registered under the name Cameron McAllister is actually a middle-aged man who's been found murdered while sitting on his surrogate linking device. FBI agents Tom Greer and Jennifer Peters track down Cameron's address and visit the house, only to uncover this shocking truth. This marks the first murder in years, leaving the detectives both surprised and deeply unsettled. The scene then cuts to a bustling subway where Tom is heading home after work. Everyone around him is a surrogate, artificial bodies controlled remotely by their human owners. When he arrives home, Tom brings water to his real self, who looks very different from the handsome, youthful surrogate body Tom uses to live his life and interact with others. After docking his surrogate, Tom leaves his room intending to see his wife, Maggie. Instead, he is met by Maggie's surrogate. Tom hasn't seen the real Maggie in a long time and mostly communicates with her surrogate. When he suggests they take a vacation together, Maggie dismisses the idea, saying she'd rather send her surrogate on the trip to experience life on her behalf. Meanwhile, a group of teenagers makes a grim discovery. Their friend Gerard Cantor has been found dead in his dorm room, still connected to his stim chair. This fresh death sets off alarm bells within the FBI team. Back at FBI headquarters, Tom and Jennifer piece together the details. They conclude that the weapon that killed the surrogates also fatally injured their real owners, a scenario previously thought impossible because owners shouldn't physically feel what their surrogates experience. They learn Gerard was the son of Dr. Lionel Cantor, the genius who invented the surrogate technology. The detectives arrange a meeting with Dr. Cantor's surrogate. They discover he's been illegally using multiple surrogates at once. However, the detectives let this slide, reasoning that as the creator of the technology, Cantor might be exempt from such rules. Since Gerard had been using one of Cantor's surrogates when he was killed, the detectives suspect the real target is Cantor himself, not his son. Their investigation then leads them to VSI, the largest surrogate manufacturing company. The CEO brushes off their concerns, confidently insisting that surrogates are completely safe for their users. However, the detectives review footage from Gerard's surrogate and identify the killer's face. With help from Bobby Saunders, an FBI computer systems administrator who can access and disable every surrogate in the country, they uncover the identity of the killer, Miles Strickland. Tom and a colleague pursue Miles by helicopter. Just as they're about to capture him, Miles unleashes a weapon that kills both the surrogates and their operators, including Tom's surrogate. The real Tom is injured in the attack, and his partner is killed. Their helicopter crashes into a restricted area filled with anti-surrogate defenses. Wounded and vulnerable, Tom staggers out of the wreckage but soon collapses unconscious. Miles meets the leader of the anti-surrogate movement, known as the Prophet. The Prophet demands to know what Miles told Tom. Miles insists he didn't reveal anything, but the Prophet kills him anyway, showing ruthless resolve. Meanwhile, Tom wakes up in a hospital and learns he's been suspended for a week for illegally entering the restricted anti-surrogate zone. Undeterred, Tom steps outside without his surrogate body for the first time in years, exposing his real, aged self to the world. Determined to get answers, Tom returns to the restricted area to find Miles, but instead discovers his body being cremated. When Tom questions the Prophet about the weapon Miles used in the attack, the Prophet denies any knowledge of it. Tom's presence raises suspicion, and the Prophet's men realize he is a cop. They brutally beat him before a young man arrives and offers Tom a ride home. This man reveals himself as one of Dr. Cantor's surrogates and advises Tom to focus on uncovering the weapon's origin. Back home, an injured Tom finds Maggie socializing with young friends in the living room. Maggie appears uneasy upon seeing him, but he avoids confrontation. Later, Tom catches her talking to a man and lashes out, only to realize the man is one of Maggie's surrogates. The plot darkens when an intruder breaks into Jennifer Peters' home, murders her, and immediately takes control of her surrogate. The next day, Tom visits a military general to learn more about the weapon. The general explains the device, known as an overload device, was designed as a war tool to infect surrogates with a virus. Officials never anticipated the virus would also kill the human operators linked to the surrogates. After discovering this fatal flaw, the weapon's production was halted, and VSI destroyed every unit, except one mysteriously remained missing. In exchange for this critical information, Tom reveals the location of the restricted anti-surrogate zone. Meanwhile, the Prophet hands the weapon to his followers, ordering them to deliver it to Jennifer's surrogate, escalating tensions. Tom visits Maggie at work and asks if she still misses their son. It's revealed their child died in a car accident, and Maggie has never recovered. The film briefly shows Maggie's real self, old and wrinkled, a stark contrast to her young surrogate. Both remain trapped in grief, unable to move on. Elsewhere, the military launches an assault on the Prophet's group to reclaim the weapon. During the firefight, they shoot the Prophet, only to discover he is also a surrogate, complicating the story further. The scene cuts to Dr. Cantor, monitoring everything from his computer. It's revealed he has been posing as the Prophet to stop misuse of his invention. Tom later meets Jennifer's surrogate, now controlled by Cantor. She reveals a devastating truth. VSI and their corrupt boss, Andy Stone, were responsible for killing Cantor's son, Gerard. They had uncovered Cantor's attempts to halt surrogate use, which threatened VSI's profits. To protect their interests, VSI and Stone conspired to kill Cantor using the deadly overload weapon, setting off the tragic chain of events that followed. However, they had mistakenly killed his son. Overwhelmed by grief, Cantor made it his mission to eliminate everyone using surrogates. To do this, he needed the weapon and the code that would activate it. Jennifer already possessed the weapon and informed Tom that Stone had been involved in Gerard's death. She asked Tom to retrieve Stone's computer files as proof. Tom tracked down Stone, knocked him out, and downloaded all the data from his computer before rushing away. Now, with both the weapon and the code in Jennifer's hands, she planned to meet Bobby to unleash the virus through the weapon, targeting every surrogate globally. Tom soon realized Jennifer's surrogate had been compromised, but before he could act, they were involved in a crash. Jennifer hurried to Bobby, while Tom went straight to the source of the chaos, Cantor. Jennifer confronted Bobby with a gun and began injecting the virus into the system. Within minutes, every person linked to a surrogate would be at risk of death. Meanwhile, Tom reached Cantor's mansion and demanded to know why he was orchestrating all this destruction. Cantor explained he created surrogates to assist handicapped individuals, not to enable widespread dependency. After losing his son, Cantor vowed not to let his death be in vain and intended to end society's addiction to surrogates. Having laid out his tragic reasoning, Cantor took a pill and committed suicide. Taking control of Jennifer's surrogate, Tom urgently asked Bobby how to stop the virus from spreading. Bobby quickly provided the necessary codes, and together they managed to save the infected surrogate operators. Tom now faced a critical choice: press yes to save all surrogates or no to disable them entirely. With only seconds remaining, Tom hesitated, but ultimately chose no, shutting down every surrogate worldwide. As the surrogates around the city powered down, their owners emerged from their homes for the first time in years. Tom hurried back to his house, only to find that the real Maggie was missing from her room. He soon discovered her in their son's bedroom. and the film closes with the two embracing, signaling a bittersweet return to reality.